Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcast. I'm bundled up, everybody, and I'll bundle this episode with lulls and pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. The only podcast that comes bundled in creaky dulcet tones and pointless meanders. What am I talking about? I don't know. It's time for Sleep With Me podcast to put you to sleep. And here's a couple ways we keep this podcast free for everybody. Or when your hand hits the fridge tomorrow, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about, I don't know if I've ever been more excited about a sponsor. So I really like to sit up and pay attention. I really want you to hear about this sponsor. And that's Grove Collaborative. And Grove wants to make it as easy as possible for you to make the switch to natural products. They carry brands you know and love, like Mrs. Meyer's. But they also have amazing Grove-made products. They have that Grove detergent dispenser and their own laundry detergent. And on top of that, the detergent dispenser cuts plastic waste by 80%. They have 100% recycled trash bags, all of that at grove.co. Grove Collaborative is the online marketplace that delivers all natural home, beauty, and personal care products directly to you. And Grove takes the guesswork out of going green. Every grove.co product is guaranteed to be good for you, your family, your home, and the planet. So you can save time from, reading all those confusing labels. And I don't know what I'm more impressed with, whether it's the glass spray bottle and the cleaning concentrate when I'm cleaning my kitchen up, or the wonderful soaps they have that make it really makes my shower feel like I'm going to some expensive spa. And then shopping at Grove, it's this very personal, curated experience. Because with Grove, they take that part out. You don't got to go to multiple stores or search endlessly online. They bring all the natural goods you need for you and your family. It's laid out in an easy-to-navigate way. And you could join over 2 million lifetime customers, including old Scoots here, who trust Grove Collaborative to make their homes happier and healthier. Plus, shipping is fast and free on your first order. And for a limited time, and I don't see how not every listener is signing up for this. I can't understate this. You go to grove.co/sleep. And you'll get a free 5-piece cleaning set from Mrs. Meyer's and Grove. That's a $30 value. And all you got to do is go to grove.co/sleep to get this exclusive cleaning offer. That's simple. Get over there. Let me know about it. Share with me a picture of you smiling and cleaning at the same time. I mean, who would have thought that would be possible, right? So go to grove.co/sleep. Thanks, everybody. It's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, and I want to thank Tristan Biston, Jonathan B., and Aaron J., all who supported Quip. Starting off the new year with squeaky clean mouths. Holy moly, is your breath good, all three of yous. The Sleepy Supporter Zone is where we thank the listeners who supported the sponsors, so we keep the podcast free for everybody. And that's why it's a little bit more higher pace. I'm excited because I love my goal is to have this podcast available for whoever needs it. And Aaron, Tristan, and Jonathan made that possible by supporting Quip. If you support a sponsor, tag them on Twitter or Instagram, tag me, and I can try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, which is now over. Oh, Mystery Bard, I hear a little bird told me that I should ask you about your new podcast and who helps out in this show.
Chris Posty Posterson sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullaby zone. I'm making a podcast. Writing songs. It's called As It Happens. Song a day. And you can find it. Just search for it. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance to accidental. Now on with the show.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. In 2020, show some people how to subscribe. You show people how to use their podcast app in their phone. Let them know about podcasts. Holy cow, are they going to be happy when they find out about all these free podcasts they can listen to, about all this great stuff. So show them how in 2020. People people you run into, people anybody. I guess that's what I meant. And let's get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations. So things you're thinking about, on your mind, going through, the old brain, the old noggin. I don't know if I referred to it as a noggin before. I mean, I've done 800 something episodes. Hopefully I'll remember that. We're just, when you're hearing this, I think we're we're denogged. Okay, so whatever's keeping you awake, thoughts, things you're thinking about, like I said, feelings, like emotions, things beyond, things that you're just feeling or sensing, physical sensations as well. Cumulative, it could be cumulus clouds, it could be accumulation of things, it could be changes in time, temperature, other stuff, could be like an unsolvable mystery. I mean that because that's what the situation I'm in. I got trouble getting to sleep, staying asleep right now. And I say, what's up with that? I say, well, this is mysterious, but, I got my routine. I got the things that everything I have, fallen asleep lately, knocking on wood, if I could, during recording of a sleep podcast. Then I say, what's up with that? I can't fall back asleep. So suddenly I wake up and I say, well, that's not great. So, sorry, but it's enough about me. Whatever's keeping you awake, could be any of that stuff. Could be people, somebody saying, well, Scoots, why you got to bring that up? I said, don't worry, I'll get back to misusing the word nog soon. But whatever it is keeping you up, I'm going to try to take your mind off of that. And what I'm going to do is I have this very exclusive, safe place set aside. Here's the thing, it's exclusive but not excluding. Nothing's excluded. Except for the stuff, it's not even excluded. I don't actually exclude the things that are keeping you awake. I just try to take your mind off of stuff. Like I say, like with the brain bots, or could we call them something with nogs? The nog bots is not half bad. It's a little bit, you'd say, Alec, could you give me rejected science fiction pitches for 1,000? Nogbots. What is a movie that'll never be made? Wow, that's correct. That doesn't seem like it actually. Okay, so I'm going to try to take your mind off stuff. I'm going to create a safe place. We'll talk about that more real soon. I'm also going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use the lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders. Oh, so superfluous tangents. I mean, holy mackerel. I've already supplied a few. I don't know if they're always syrupy, though. Syrupy, superfluous tangents. If I had one of those machines with those drinks, what are those called? Slushies. I guess superfluous, we'd call it, because it'd be purple, fake grape flavored. Superfluous. That'll be at Scoots Fest 2030. Would be the soonest ever there'd be a Scoots Fest, except for all the fests with scooters and stuff that are unrelated to this podcast. I'm here to take your mind off of stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep you company as you drift off. Now, if you're new, holy mackerel, you might be saying to yourself, or what in the tarnation is this podcast or is this person talking about? And that's understandable if you're new. You might even be saying, what in the Sam heck or what in the name of that musical, I say, yeah, what, I forgot the name of the musical because it changed. I thought it was a Hecktown, I think it's called, Hadestown. Okay, so what is this podcast? Here's a couple of things. Structurally, what to expect is unexpected for podcasts. It starts off with business. That really is how we're able to keep the podcast free for everybody to download whenever they want, is the business. So we do that mostly at the beginning of the show, and I really appreciate those of you that are engaged with that. So that can throw people off. Then the intro can also throw people off. It's a 12 to 20-minute ramble about things that are on my mind and where I try to explain what the podcast. Well, it's actually they're not on my mind when I start. I say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Creek dulcet meanders, superfluous tangents, explain, I explained my brain. Explain what the podcast is to new listeners, structure, what to expect, bada bing, bada boom. Then stuff comes up in my mind and it makes me go off topic. And it's something that organically grew out of making the podcast, but it really works because, so now I lean into it, or I've been leaning into it for like 800 episodes. No. Yeah, maybe 700 episodes. Because I found that it gives you a little bit of time to get ready for bed or to wind down and relax and get comfortable. So then by the time I get to the story, or tonight we'll be talking about the program Mandalorian, you'll be drifting off into dreamland, or I'll be here to keep you company. Either way. So there's an intro, there's business, an intro, then there's a little business, then we'll talk about the Mandalorian. Episode 4, I believe. But if you've never seen the show or you watch it a lot like I do, don't worry. I won't really cover too much exciting stuff. We'll just talk about, skiffs or floorboards, those kind of things. So you could drift off. And I'll probably do some research on stuff. I say, what is a floorboard? I better Google that. And then there's some thank yous at the end. So that's the structure of the show. A couple other things to note. This is a podcast you don't really need to listen to. You can listen, but I wouldn't listen so close that you're saying, okay, when are you going to get to the sleep stuff? Because if you're asking that question, the kind of the whole thing, it's like, I don't know. I guess I wish I had an extra analogy in there. I just never get there. It's all sleepy stuff. It's all... I put the noggin. I mean, there's no doubt about that. When you say, how would you describe nog? And I'd say something that's viscous, but about the consistency of Elmer's glue, that you would drink, or that you'd find pooled somewhere. And I'd say probably also, I don't know if you can have a liquid that's an amalgamation, but I'd say it's various ingredients put together, not as thick as a milkshake. That's nog, N-O-G, nog. Okay, well, you spelled it correctly, at least. So I don't know where I got caught in that nog. I don't even know what I was talking about. Sorry, new listeners. Oh, that this is a podcast you don't really need to listen to or pay attention to. Almost like look at it in loose focus. Just like the background. Like I'm the, what do they call that? The bokeh. I'm not the Boca Vista. I'm the bokeh with an E. I think it's spelled, it has an E at the end or something. The effect in pictures, mostly, it used to be portraits done by professionals. Then a lot of people had digital SLRs. And, with the filter and the camera and the focus, the background would be a little bit blurry, makes you stand out. Now, a lot of smartphones have it kind of built in. I think that background's called bokeh, and I'm not the portrait. No, oh no, for the love of Jean Berger, I'm not looking or looked upon. I'm best to sit in the background out of focus. Like a vase or, sitting, one of those things, like a, whatever you call that, where you recline, or flowers, or a kitty cat, or, bird, raptor. Or you say, what is that on that table? It's mysterious. I can't tell what it is. Well, yeah, you're supposed to look at the queen, George, not at the table behind the queen. You see, but that's where all the hidden meaning is. And you say, well, it's called The Portrait of the Queen. And you say, okay, well, could you two take your debate somewhere? I think you both have valid points. So I'm going to double validate you both and also give you both a glass of nog that you could sip on the entire time I do the rest of the intro. So it's okay. Thank you both. Oh boy, it almost got caught up in an artistic debate there. So I'm the Boca. I'm the Boca of podcasts. You might say I'm the Boca of podcasts the other way, because that used to be like a term for retirement, I think, on Seinfeld, Del Boca Vista. But you could call it people would say I'm going to Boca. And I think that stood for Boca Raton. You could say I'm the equivalent of retirement for podcasts. That would be figurative. That's more of a feel. And yeah, I'm like the fuzzy parts, without a doubt. So a podcast you don't need to listen to. It only took me 8 minutes to explain that part. Also, no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here for about an hour to keep you company as you drift off. So I'll be here at your side, and you'll just kind of, drift away. That's the whole idea of that. I'm here to be your boar friend, your boar bud, your boar bay, your boar sib, your boar cuz, your boar bestie, your boar bruh, if you're into that. And what else? But if you can't sleep, I'm going to be here till the very end. So I make the show for those of you that are asleep and those of you that can't sleep. I'm here to keep you company either way. I do truly believe you do deserve a good night's sleep, and that your world and the broader world will be a better place if you're rested. So I do. It's my honor. It's my pleasure. I've been there, like I said at the top of the show. I also have a noggin full of nog. So there's eggnog. That's the most famous of nogs. Actually, you want to talk about I don't know if there would be a Disney movie or what's Illumination? Is that their competitor? But I mean, all of the other nogs have been short. They haven't got the attention they deserve, because I don't even know what else. I mean, other than the generalized term nog, right? I mean, if it's eggnog, that means there's probably other nogs. Like, I don't know why this plum nog. I would never drink that. But it popped in my head when I said, that's how little attention other nogs have got. I said, what's another nog? Plum nog. And even though I was saying it, I was saying plum nog. There can't ever be, in the history of the world, there probably has been a plum nog, because I guess there's plum pudding, so it's not that big a stretch. Then I guess you'd say, well, fig nog then. Okay. How about a nog that's actually appetizing? I would say something like a horchata is not quite a nog, but that would be a nog I could get behind. And you say, yeah, you could have a horchata nog. I mean, it probably maybe, that sounds delicious. I mean, usually you say, well, yeah, it would be rice or tapioca pudding. And then you say, well, that's a pudding. It's not a nog. So back to the old nogging board. I think I prefer nogging board. Don't come a noggin when the noggin's noggin. You know what I'm saying? Because it just means I'm trying to think of up new nogs and I can't be interrupted. I said I almost had it. You say, what are you doing in there, Scoots? Designing groundbreaking new nogs? No, I was just trying to think of other nogs. All I got is plum and fig. And then horchata nog, which doesn't actually it doesn't do horchata justice. Yeah. I mean, maybe how do you feel about this one? French nog. And he's, oh boy. Yeah, no, I'm starting to sweat too. You better get out of here. I got to think up other titles for nogs. Yeah. Mint chocolate nog. That just is, talk about boring. Say, holy pedestrian nog. You see, Alec, can you give me pedestrian nogs for 4,000? That's vanilla nog, Alec. That's that's the only thing more boring is plain nog. Plain nog. I mean, there's a nog title. It's not a good one. You say, that's not what I would like to drink. You see, that's actually my grandpa Ralph. He's the one person I know that has a taste for plain nog. And we've always wondered what, but that's just one treat a year, a glass of plain nog. Oh boy, do I love that plain flavorless nog. Also, I guess it would be known as the 80s, but when you think of the 80s in retrospect, you say, man, it had neon, it had all that music, it wasn't like plain nog. And I'd say, well, yeah, I guess the mainstream culture, you're right, it had fat shoelaces, parachute pants. I think that was even when were Zuba pants in the 90s? Zuba nog, that's it. Well, that's a proprietary nog, I'm afraid. And you see, what happens when I drink Zuba nog? Do I run like a zebra? No, you just go. They serve it at NFL games now. Okay. Well, anyway, I got to get back to the end. I was supposed to end this intro. I went off topic right into nog land. So I got a head full of nog. I mean, I think that was my point. But I'm putting it to good use because I'm here to help you fall asleep. Now, if you're new, give the podcast a few tries. Now I don't get anything out of it if you give it a few tries. I just hope it helps you. I mean, main thing is if you give it a few tries, that's what millions of listeners have said. Hey, give it a few tries, see how it goes. For me, it didn't work for episode 2 or 3 or 4. But if you've given it a few tries and it doesn't work, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you has other podcasts and stuff you could check out. But the main thing is I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate you coming by. I work very hard and I yearn and I strive to help you fall asleep. And for you regular listeners, here's the ways we're able to keep this podcast free for everybody. Hey, what's cooking, listeners? Well, HelloFresh is cooking because you can get mouth-watering seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. And HelloFresh makes cooking at home fun, easy, and affordable. And I just signed my parents up for HelloFresh. So I don't know if you can relate to some of the reasons I signed them up. One is because HelloFresh's recipes are delicious. But I really wanted to help my parents break out of the dinner rut because HelloFresh has over 22 seasonal chef-curated recipes every week. So I knew, I could easily find something that fits my parents' tastes and their diets. It saves time because HelloFresh cuts out the stressful meal planning and prepping. So you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes. And HelloFresh is going to help my parents eat more sustainably because their pre-portioned ingredients mean there's less prep for you and less food waste. And, I mean, I'll be honest, my dad's a little bit of a picky eater. Maybe you have a kid in your life that's a picky eater or someone else, and that's cool. Like HelloFresh allows for that because it's flexible and it fits your lifestyle. You could easily change up your delivery days or your food preferences or even skip a week when you need to. And it really is America's best value meal kit. And I can even tell you, usually I talk about a meal I made, but I'm cooking with my parents. The first meal I'm going to cook with them is a shrimp spaghetti with a kick because they both love shrimp. It has zucchini, garlic, herb butter, and chili. So I'm really, really looking forward to guiding them through the process, getting them comfortable. But, HelloFresh with their recipe cards and everything make it easy anyway. And you really need to check out this deal because it is amazing. All you need to do is go to HelloFresh.com/sleep10 and use the code sleep10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/sleep10 and use the promo code sleep10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. And I'm really excited. With this deal, there is really no reason not to try it. So if you're on the fence, get over there right now. HelloFresh.com/sleep10. Let me know about it. Let me know how it went so I can thank you on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Thanks, everybody. All right, hey, everybody, it's time for me to talk about Chapter 4 of The Mandalorian. This is a man that's going to be boring, yes, and I'm finally in a position where I haven't seen the next episode. I guess it came out this morning. It looks like I knew they came out on Fridays. I didn't realize they came out Friday mornings, but I haven't seen it or heard anything about it, so that's good. So now I'm waiting for the 4th episode to download on this iPad here. I can see the name, the teaser, just one sentence about the episode. Really doesn't give out too much info. And this episode features another ongoing character, which really plays against our expectations in some sense because of like the teaser trailers and the art that was released before the series started. You kind of get, at least this is my opinion. I mean, but Mandalorian does seem like a tale of a lone, person traveling the universe to help people. I mean, also in this case, like the season arc seems to be helping one person in particular. But we did it like, I mean, I guess I projected the idea, Mandalorian's got a backup team, like a backing band with the droid and then the character, Cara, you say Cara, I say Cara Dune, who's featured in this episode. And maybe the Ron Perlman-esque, engineer, but I don't know. So, I don't know. So I guess that's not, I mean, that's a way they've subverted expectations so far. This episode is also very truly, very episodically modular and procedural, like a Sleep With Me episode should be. So that was great. And now I'm hitting play. It's probably going to play last time on there. Trying to think if I have any other commentary about this, while we warm up. Showing recaps from the last few episodes. Silver armor, the shiny armor. I didn't think about that. That shiny was it from Moana? That song. We're seeing the floating pram. That was the biggest mistake of the season, not keeping that floating pram. What did Scoots talk about the most last episode? One of the greatest losses in all Star Wars, not taking the floating pram out of the garbage, even if it wasn't properly working. I mean, here's the thing. I guess they could say, well, actually, one of the stormtroopers, GP 4445, but actually they're not stormtroopers anymore. So they probably, it's like, Zeke, just wear former stormtrooper or a person who acquired the stormtrooper armor, in a mud pie making dance. I did take all of the electronics out. I didn't keep the top half of the pram because I have one at home. I just took the electronics for it. I'm going to make one of those mini, you heard of a mini bike, right? Scoots, pocket bike. Remember those were big, like for 7 years ago? We're going to make one of those. Okay, great. So it wouldn't be the episode if I didn't say Werner. Then, we have all the openings, which I talked through. Then we see like this great shot again, where if you don't know anything, if you stay spoiler free, which I guess if you're listening to this, hopefully you're probably asleep anyway, but if you're not, you won't be missing much because you get to see it through my eyes. You say, well, if you're not going to be spoiler free, see it through Scoots' eyes. Because I said, holy, movie. I thought this was I said, is that a fancy fish tank? Because we see some like shrimp, brine shrimp, like, but they're blue, swimming around in some stuff. It did look like we were inside of a fish tank. The light's coming from above. Oh, this is a recap. Sorry, I was just looking at my notes for the first time. Recap: Werner, Yoda, armor, grief, what, crib, hide and seek, John Wick, hide and seek, all of them, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, underwater, fish tank, question mark, lots of light, blue brine type, sea monkeys, something shrimp blue, kid plays with a frog, it takes a village, it's like a village, there's actually, there's like a carrying droid. Let's see, everyone's working. Then we get the old thing from everything's picturesque. Holy cow, these people are happy. They're working together. They're working hard, wiping their faces of sweat. Kids are playing wicker soccer, chase a frog, whatever that game was that character played, a super water fun time or whatever. But then we get the old Jurassic Park water moment with the boom, boom, booming. And everyone splits as they say, oh boy, here comes the walker. And they said something, like at first I couldn't understand what they were saying. It was I heard stuff like reenactment, and I saw it. I heard, our friend Summer made a movie about this, but I could have heard them say like something LARPers. At first I thought they said Womp Rat because that's what I thought they say every time. But they were called, it was 2 words. So it took me a long time to parse this out. LARPer, reenact, and there's LARPers, which is just, I mean, again, this is just my interpretation, but these were Lord of the Rings, like a live action role player, reenactor kind of people. And I'll tell you what, they weren't in the Fellowship. They were in the Puppy Ship. I don't know if they were on Team Sauron. I think they were like original Sauron, whatever, indirectly working for Sauron. At least or maybe they could work for Sauron. And so anyway, the Lord of the Rings are LARPers. So Lord of the Rings, LARP, live action role players, but they play like in a way where they don't ask the other people at the village if they wanted to play. They say, we need extras for our LARPing. And they just show up. Believe me, don't worry. The Mandalorian will help us parse and sort this out. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot is that the great news is that it was talking about, the Mystery Bard wrote did a TikTok and a song, a day song, Baby Yoda lullaby. And I'm so busy with the podcast, I don't know how big virally it went, but it's great news for the Mystery Bard. By the time you hear this, it'll be months later, but I'll try to link to it. Let's get it going. So where were we? Okay, Lord of the Rings. They also think they want to shrimp. This is really a stretch, but Lord of the Rings LARPers got to eat. That's one of the things the leader says, so they're also taking the shrimp for like a buffet, which is ridiculous, so they're particularly focusing on one mother and her daughter, that are particularly impacted by the thing. It's Chapter 4, Sanctuary, Mandalorian. Then we see the ship in space. Then we see Oso. This is Oso. If you want to talk about Oso cute, and this has gotten a lot of meme treatment, but, for like 80s or radio stations in the car with Dad. But Oso's pressing buttons. And again, I guess I got to do another commentary here. Not to go off it's my job is to go on tangents, right? And I could tell you that if I would have known about baby Oso before the season started, there would have been a part of me that was like, oh boy, they're going to be in trouble there. Like how you can't that's going to be tough to pull off. So I really have to salute everybody involved in the Mandalorian for successfully pulling this off. First of all, for not hyping it. So even, this is one situation where whatever the marketing and creative discussions were, they ended up for the best. And it's had a much greater impact, but also just how hard it is, just to make something that parents and kids can watch and enjoy together that has something that it actually is cute, like Oso, but that isn't smarmy, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And the main, the closest parallel I can draw, because you say I haven't seen Mandalorian, Scoots, I need more, they say, don't worry, I got you covered, is Olaf, the snowman that likes warm hugs from the first Frozen. And I mean, you think about it, again, I heard about Olaf before the movie came out, and I think it was on a podcast and someone was critical of the idea. And I can't honestly remember at the time if I was like, I'm interested, or I was agreeing and saying, whoa, boy, sounds like a big mistake. And even the Olaf art might have gotten leaked out ahead of time, maybe on purpose in a marketing way. Anyway, first of all, because I was just thinking about this with a Frozen 2, and the holiday season is when I'm recording this, is the idea of a reinvention of a living snow person. Whoa, boy, that is, I mean, I realize this was like 2014 or whatever, but the idea of taking something that's somewhat iconic and plussing it and reinventing it and kind of making its own, man, and then perfect casting, Josh Gad, and then, great songwriting, great writing. I don't know, but that's the closest thing I could say. I guess from someone that makes stuff, I say, how did they pull Olaf off? I mean, even before they got Josh Gad, I mean, again, you see, okay, it was all these stages. It all worked out great. And I'd say the same for Oso. So I guess that's just my meandering way of saying, well done. Okay, so pressing buttons, he says stop, and then Oso rebels, and he puts Oso in his lap. Then he pulls up a map. They're going to play there's something sorghum. They said, isn't that like something to do with like wheat or something? I said, or bran? Backwater. You see the affinity though, even though the Mandalorian can be very Scooter-esque or Drew-like, cold, distant. He does get cutesy. He says, we're going to lay low. What do you think that, you little womp rat? No one will find us. Then the Mandalorian ship goes over our village. It gets lots of eyes from the villagers, which again, as far as like the slow reveals or semi-slow in a 40-minute episode, I said, whoa, what's going to happen next? I mean, clearly there's like this A-team, procedural element, but you say, how's this going to come together? Then we get more Oso-ness because he says the Mandalorian, I mean, this is to talk about bad ideas, though. He says, why don't you stay behind on the ship, Oso? And everyone that was watching in the world said, what are you thinking, Mandalorian? Obviously, you're not, because he's going to put that ball in his mouth or something, or, press with so many, you don't have like, your ship is not childproof. But at least this child is so smart, it can advocate for itself. Because, I mean, by the way, kids can't, but this baby happens to be 50. So that's why. So the baby says, even though I'm still, my developmental stages are not the same as a human or most mammals, I'm going to come with you because I can't be trusted on my own. And I said, man, I wish I could advocate for my needs like that. And the Mandalorian says, well, I'm glad you spoke to your needs. I don't agree. So he sighs. That's when he says, don't come with me. Oh, no, then he sighs and says, come on. Then they go walking. They go to like a kebab and noodles bar, which, hello, Disney. I know you got some other shops at your Disney theme parks or whatever, but kebab and noodles bar would be good. You could put this outdoors somewhere even. And yeah, I guess you could still charge whatever, $8,000 for like a bowl of noodles. So it's a kebab. Yeah, but there's wooden dirt floors. We kind of get an idea of not primitive environment, but a basic environment. I don't mean Eleanor basic. I mean, wooden dirt floors. Oso meets a cat. Then we see a grouchy soldier in the background. And we get a bone broth shout out. You heard it here first years ago when I talked about sipping broth becoming a thing. And I even got turned down by a sipping broth sponsor, or, I never heard back from them when they said, but that's true. They said, I was the one that invented sipping broth, except for the people, 4,000 years ago that did it. Mando doesn't eat. This also was like, like where you, it's a small way to keep people on the edge of their seat, these different scenes. Or at least to me, I said, does Mando eat at all? Like, that are not much business. What does that mean? Not log runner. But he says, who's that lady back there, like looking glum in like armor? And she says, there's not much business here. And she says, I don't know. She's not a log runner. And then she says, oh, this is all like, so this is like, I think this is like a Renaissance fair planet, but not our Renaissance fair, some other version of Renaissance fair, but also real, but real. Like, I don't know how to explain. She says, would you like a flag and a spotchka? And he says, keep an eye on the kid. Then he checks the thermal prints. He can see thermal footprints. He gets tricked by this other soldier, and she jumps down. They have an arm wrestling match, and they're disagreeing mostly about the rules of the arm wrestling match. And then we see Baby Oso sipping bone broth, and we get a great joke. You want some soup? Then she's, we get in halfway through her backstory, so we don't hear too much, because this isn't a sleep podcast. The show isn't. So she says, yada, 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 drop ships, peacekeepers, early retirement. She's talking about, what's that, not Hoth, but that other one, Endor. Let's see. She said, I knew you were a guild, thought you had a fob on me. They said that was one of my favorite Star Wars parody songs that were never written about the Mandalorian by, I don't know, take a fob on me, just like take a chance on me. You've got a fob on me. Or I guess you could sing it as the Jungle Book. You've got a, oh no, that's not the Jungle Book. It's Toy Story. You've got a fob on me. Fits so many places, I think, just because of the way the syllables fall. No, I'm trying now. Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to move on. I was here first. And again, I like how clear cut the Mandalorian can be. He goes, oh, well, this planet's taken, kid. You're going to have to hit the road. Then he's tuning up his ship, and two villagers come on a skiff. If you want to talk about like one of the things this TV show glorifies, it's lanterns. You say, when was the last show with this many lanterns that wasn't based around, that like weren't oil that wasn't like, you say Hamilton. I say, well, that's a musical one. You say two, like, okay, Mary Poppins 2. And you say, well, were those were those lamps or lanterns? I'm talking about lanterns, not lamps. You see, this thing has some, if you're into lanterns, or I don't know, maybe like there's somebody like they'll come out like one of those people. They say, well, we can't, our kids today, we can't watch this stuff. It's full of lanterns. And then next thing you know, there's going to be, moths coming by. When I was a kid, we sat in the dark, and you say, no, actually didn't, because you probably had lanterns then too. Okay, he says, excuse me, raiders, they say, he says, yeah, they call them raiders. He said, no, empire. They said, Lord Larpers. And he said, what is that? Some sort of dance? Lord Larper. And they go, no, Lord Larpers they're bugging us. We got money to pay you. When they says, well, not enough to deal with a Lord Larper. And they go, no, it's a group, not just one person. And the Mandalorian's like, no way. You're not going to get me. You don't have enough money in the world to pay me to deal with any Lord Larpers. And, he says, how many lulls would a Lord Larper larp if a Lord Larper could larp larps? And they say, well, we like grow krill and brew spotchka, man. He goes, not enough. They said, we'll give you more after the next harvest. And they say, one of the actors in this is somebody I really love. Eugene Cordero, and I have a feeling he'll be a big star. I don't know. I just always enjoy seeing him on the screen. It just has a really nice, especially when he plays this character, he's a little bit flummoxed. But he has like this good nature to him. I don't know. He's also very funny. Not in this one, he adds a tiny bit of humor, but not too much. So I don't know. He's also good at adding like subtle humor. So, okay, where was I? Okay, Eugene Cordero. Okay, so they say we live in the middle of nowhere. He says, you live in the middle of nowhere? Where's that? And they go, in the middle of nowhere, down the road a ways. And the Mandalorian goes, He goes, do you have a lot of lanterns? And they say, well, we got one right here. And first he says, okay, you still got that money though? Let's see. He goes, where? And they go, or what do you do? They go, on a farm. We're farmers. Weren't you listening? Yeah. He goes, you have lodging. Again, I love how the language they use for the Mandalorian. And at first, they also, I think it was, I don't know if it was Eugene or someone else that said, you just took us a whole day to get here. Now we got to go all the way home. And then, yeah, I loved, weren't you listening? We live on a farm. We're farmers. Okay, so he says, good. Come to hell. Okay, something. He goes, okay, let's load up the skiff. One more thing. Give me those credits. And then we see him drop the credits at Cara Dune's thing. He says, I'm going to be one more thing. Give me those credits. I'm watching it now. She's just kicking it against a tree by the fire. And he goes, you ready for round 2? And she goes, Then they're on the skiff. She goes, then they kind of say, okay, what are we doing? Lore larders or something. She goes, what? And he goes, like, they're going to give you a place to stay, and will be a deterrent, a pretty good deal. Nothing lives out here. You can handle it. I can handle it. And she goes, Lorp larders? And he goes, no, Lorp larders, one of the guys says. Then again, you get this super cuteness. Is there a word like, people used to say H-A-W-T or whatever, hot. Oh, yeah, this is like K-E-W-T, cute. Let me see what the time frame stamp is. 1327. Mando kicks back, and then Oso kicks back. Super cute. Holy moly. Mando. Oso looks at the stars for a second, though. Then they wake up. They're there. Kids come running. They're happy to see everybody. Happy to see us, even one of them says. In Oso. They love Oso. It's a farm. Then we're in a room where the blinds are getting put up by what is kind of like teased out as like a romantic interest for the Mandalorian. She goes, hello, please come in. Sorry, you got to sleep in the barn. He goes, this one is nice. He also is very robotic again. He says, thank you, that's very kind. Her daughter tries to sneak in and makes Mando a little jumpy. She says, we don't get a lot of visitors. Says, thank you, and nods. Also at 15:20, let me see. It's coming up in a minute. She says, yeah, stack some blankets. That's very kind, old Mando says. Now he's jumpy. Winta's the name of the daughter. Mando, she says, oh, this man's here to help us. Get rid of those lorp larpers. Yeah, she's protect us from the lorp larders, taking our shrimp and just making us larp with them when we don't even want to. Let's give our guests some room. Mando's standing there. There's some shot I wanted to note. 15:20. Oh, there it is. Oh boy, no wonder I said noted. It's actually 15:28. It's a overhead shot of the farm. It really is cool. Then, oh yeah, good shot from the sky. Then Mando's getting ready sequence. Not really sequence. He's just getting dressed. Knock, knock, come in. We see that Oso has their own crib. Winter says, can I feed him? He says, sure. Can I play with him? Sure, but a little bit more grouchy. And this is how I parent. She goes to go outside. He goes, I don't think that's a good idea. And then the woman says, it'll be fine. And he says, I don't think it'll be. She goes, it'll be fine. She goes, I brought you some food. He goes, that's very thoughtful of you. This is what I'm like with all interactions. Oh, okay, that's very thoughtful of you. And she says, she goes, I'll leave it here. Oh, then he says, yeah, that's very thoughtful. But she stays for a second, kind of looking after him. She goes, can I ask you something? You ever take that helmet off? Or she goes, when's the last time you took it off? He goes, yesterday. She goes, like in front of somebody else. He goes, when I was like their kid's age. So we get some more backstory. He goes, this is the way. She goes, isn't it lonely? Not, she goes, I could tell you got it. And I say, if you only knew what kind of face was under that helmet, holy mackerel. It's flawless, I'd say. I mean, no offense to Antonio, because he's not here, but you'd say, who gives Antonio Banderas a run for their money? And I'd say, well, one day, if you ever see a helmless Mandalorian, you'll find out. But she's strikingly beautiful too. So to say, holy cow, and you see, that's your, like if they did stay together, they'd be like, but that's your child, that green thing that looks like a lorplarder. They'd say, oh, so used to be cute, and now it's, no, that's like a, they say, Scoots, okay, yeah, you're right, get back on track here. So, yeah, and then she goes, well, let us know if you need anything. And then Mando kind of eats in the window, which did seem like not a great idea. But I guess he wants to keep, maybe there's like a two-way window or something. You see the kids in the Yoda, or kids in Oso. Then they go, Kara and Mando go on a scouting trip, more thermal prints, 15 to 20 lorplarders. But then they say there's something big, and they start looking around, and then they notice it's a print of like a tower. And she goes, is that Sauron's tower or Sauron's tower? And Mando goes, I always got those two mixed up. And he goes, was that played by Christopher Guest? And Cara Dune says, no, not Christopher Guest. Not Christopher Walken either. And she goes, the famous actor that Scoots can't think of his name, but neither Guest nor Walken. He goes, Christopher Plummer? She goes, no, not Christopher Plummer either. And he goes, what do you mean it's a tower? He goes, what do you mean? She goes, it's some sort of movable tower with the eye of, presumably the eye of Sauron. And he goes, well, that's not good because, and she goes, yeah. Then we get more serious comedy, more than I signed up for. There's music. And then the Mandalorian has a town meeting. He goes, bad news, can't live here anymore. And she goes, nice bedside manner. He goes, oh, can you do better? And she goes, yeah, what, everybody's like, you're supposed to help us. What are you doing? He goes, just go somewhere else, big planet. And they go, we've been seeding these pods for generations. And they go, well, there's at least 20 lorplarders, and then the, some sort of mobile tower of Sauron, or Sauron. And they go, Sauron, it's the eye of Sauron. And they go, which one? Because we're all confused here. And they go, you got lorplarders and Sauron. And they said Sauron, I guess the eye of Sauron. We're not leaving. And they go, well, I don't know what to do. And then the Mandalorian says, unless we show them how. And then you say, okay, I learned this from watching the A-Team. It's time for a planning and training sequence. And so we get one with Cara Dune. He says, Cara Dune here will teach you how to do something. I don't know. So they start making mud pits and trees, like barricades. The mother, the romantic interest of Omera, she's good at squirt guns. Which they're going to use the old ice water and squirt guns. There's nothing a lorplarder hates more than than cold squirt guns. And then they have a pit for the eye of Sauron to put it out. It's a bit bad news bears to start. That's part of a training sequence, though, and then they get better. They also have a moment alone, which is on screen right now, where it's like, what's going to happen here? And he goes, we got to go out in the woods now. Also, Cara Dune rolls by when the Mandalorian and Omera are having the moment. Then we got some wood sneaking. Another thing about Lorplarters is they drink a lot. In this case, they're drinking glow cube drinks with black light into the cup, which I've never seen before. And I think they must be drinking spatchka, maybe. Because then we see they go into a tent, Karen, Mando. We see vats of maybe spatchka. And then it's on. And it wasn't, they do apple bobbing in spatchka is the way the Lorplarters compete with one another. So, oh boy, does it get crazy because they've never, you can't with a drink, it's one thing in water or something, but has alcohol in it. So things get crazy. And then, but the Mando and Kara end up on, they end up winning. But there's a lot of apples being thrown. Then somebody hops in this Eye of Sauron walking tower. They put Eye of Sauron bot 2000 and the chase is on. We see Oso and the kids hiding out in the mist. We see the ponds. And then the LARPers show up. They say ready. Then, of course, this giant Tower of Sauron shows up with the glowing eye and everything. It's very intimidating. And it moves. It stops right at the beginning of the pit, but isn't in the fall. It doesn't fall in the pit. Shines a spotlight, out of its eye, just like in the movie. But I mean, that was a movie. This is real for the characters, at least. And the Lord of the Rings LARPers, they show up throwing apples and saying spatchka. Then I think he says, Kara, doing new plan, full circle. Maybe she says something, but it basically is he gives her his trusty a pole thing and lightning pole and cooler out your mind. Come on, but which he does is part of his faith, I believe. And she, so I don't know. I thought that was a cool little moment that it's there's not going to be any callbacks to this, or is there? I mean, because these two definitely have a good working relationship. But so he trusts her with his most prized possession other than Oso. And Kara jumps in the water. He says, "You got this." He's they say, "Now or never." Then she says, "Take the bait, you big Eye of Sauron, you hunk of junk." Then it gets stuck in the mud, and they splash the water, put the Eye of Sauron out. And they say, "We don't even need one ring to rule you all." And eventually they get victory over these Lorplarters who will go running home to their mamas probably and say, geez, we were throwing apples at these other kids, and they turned the tables on us with ice cold squirt gun water. There's cheers. They say, was that the plan? Something like that. Then we see Oso and the frog, playing with the frog. The kids are like, that's gross. So I think Oso has Oso's first experience with humor, with going in the first stage performance. Rosso says, the kids liked it when I put a frog in my mouth and then spat it back out. Or did they not like it? It's tough to tell, but Oso liked it, which is almost, so Oso may become a stand-up comedian or a sleep podcaster. It makes kids laugh. 33. This was a nice scene because, so a couple weeks have gone by, according to the dialogue, and Kara and Mando are just kicking it, literally. This is at 33. They are kicking it at the doors of one of their cabins. Kara's sitting down, Mando's standing up, leaning, against the wall, which, he does so well. And then O'Mara shows up. Let's follow the dialogue here. Right now I'm at where baby Oso is the frog. The kids are laughing. Oh, even Oso smiled, and the frog was happy. Omer brings Kara a drink. She goes, "You want something?" And Mandalorian goes, "Maybe later." She smiles and is like, "Oh, your son's so happy." He goes, "Yeah, he is." She says, fits right in. And the Mandalorian watched her walk off. Cara Dune does the eyebrow thing. And she goes, well, what happens if you take your helmet off? You get in trouble? He goes, no, you just can never put it back on again. And she kind of looks at him like, are you saying figuratively or metaphorically? And she goes, that's it. And she goes, you could just take off the helmet and settle down here with your kid, drink spatchka, maybe, but like she goes, I have a feeling you're as handsome as she, you're both handsome people when it's a compliment. And she goes, what are you thinking, dude? I don't know. She just has this great performative amusement, like a best friend. I mean, she's like, and he goes, we really raised some heck here a couple of weeks ago with those lorp larders. They might have got on one of their newsletters or something. And he goes, we better move on. And she goes, well, I wouldn't want to tell your kid the bad news. Then they're playing catch the brine shrimp. And he goes, I'm leaving him here. And she gives him a side eye. He goes, with me, it's no life for a kid. And he goes, he's safe here, better chance at a life. And she goes, well, he's not going to be happy about it because he loves, you're his papa. And he goes, we'll get over it. We all do. And she goes, that sounds like something, she goes, that doesn't sound like something a modern generation would say. It sounds something old school. Yeah, big Kira smile. If I've been calling her something else, Cara Dune, or Kira Dune, maybe. Let's see, she's thoughtful at the very end. Then we see this elephant type, member of the guild. And, then the Mandalorian rolls up on O'Mara. He says, actually, she has on rubber, whatever those things are called, waders. He says, can I have a moment to speak with you? She goes, sure. And let's see what he says. He says, it's very nice here. She goes, yeah, I've lived here my whole life. And he goes, I think it's clear he's happy here. She says, well, what about you? And he goes, me? No, I'll never be. She goes, are you happy here? And he doesn't even say anything. She goes, well, it'd be nice if you stayed. The community likes you. She goes, you could pack your armor away. Maybe kiss someone. You and your boy could have a good life. He could be a kid for a while. I mean, that one cuts deep, She goes, wouldn't that be nice? Really well done. He goes, it would. So you could, I don't know, in the fifth watch, this is why I do these shows. It really stood up. Then she holds his helmet like she's going to take it off. Pack Osway, good life. Then he says, I don't belong here. And she goes, he goes, he does, though. And she goes, I understand. And she says, I could look after him like he's one of my own. Then we hear the beeping. We see the member of the guild, like their tile fob and everything. But then we see Kira Dune. She deals with this member of the guild, says, go back, fobless, tracking. And they say, who's he tracking? You or the kid or me? He goes, the kid. And then Oso's looking on as they start packing up to go away. So this is kind of, because they say, yeah, they must have the kid's tiled. There's nothing we can do. So then we have Oso making an Oso cute face. Mandalorian's packing up a skiff, packing it twice, autopilot skiff, I guess. Kara says, you don't want an escort? He goes, nah. I goes, we're going to just head right to my ship, the Razor Crest. Must be the name of his ship. They do a hand five until our paths cross again. The kids are pretty upset to see Oso go. Winter is going to miss Oso. Mandalorian says goodbye to O'Mara. She goes, thanks. He just nods his head. And she kind of smiles at him. Oso gets a big hug. He says some cute stuff to the kid. I mean, who knows what he's saying? Maybe he's saying stuff in some sort of Force language, too. I mean, he is 50 years old, so if they were playing any games, he would have a distinct advantage. Even catch the brine shrimp. Mando sets everything up in the skiff. Actually, we have like a pretty long, like 5 or 10 second sequence of him, everybody just watching and looking on. A lot of nodding. Wonder if Pedro Pascal like has to do neck exercises. He must. Then we get a close up of Oso's face. It's awful but sad, and inquisitive, and cute. Oh, so cute, and it ends. We get the wonderful surprise. This episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. I mean, this one I didn't. I knew she directed an episode this season. And I don't know. I was having trouble counting the paintings, so I don't know if there's 9 or 10 paintings at the end, but definitely worth watching. And let's look up a couple of things quick from this episode here. Let's see. It still came up Lionel Kitty City. So Bryce Dallas Howard, I'll put that in the show notes. Obviously a great director, but also a great performer. And, because we're big fans of Steven and Jurassic Park, awesome on Jurassic World. So wouldn't it be nice, it gets said, and that's like, I talked about this on the podcast before, like, for me, one of my pinnacle moments of consuming film was the first time I saw the movie Roger and Me, and maybe like the second time or third time I saw it too. And then Ben Hamper, I think, is saying talking about the song, Wouldn't It Be Nice? But It Wouldn't Be Nice is a song written by Brian Wilson, Tony Asher, and Mike Love for the Beach Boys. Came out on Pet Sounds in 1966. This is from Wikipedia. It was put out as a single 2 months before the album's release, with God Only Knows as a B-side. Whoa, boy, what a record. And in some countries, It Wouldn't Be Nice was a B-side. The B-side wins again and again, as Chuck D used to sing. Let's see. Wilson did the orchestral wall of sound arrangement using a variety of instruments not normally heard in popular music, including accordions and 12-string guitar, and a lot of other classical stuff. Love was not originally listed as a co-writer, but received his credit after having to advocate for Mike's Love's self. It was the happy sounding music, according to this Wikipedia, was influential in future pop, power pop. Tony Asher credits the idea of the song to Brian Wilson. The innocence of the situation, seemed immensely appealing to him. Lyrics were written almost entirely by Asher over the course of 1 or 2 days. Mike Love did end the ending couplet. It celebrated adolescence fun and teenage love, but subverts this convention with the saying. But I mean, for me, it is removed from those meanings of the song from Ben Hamper. Let me just see if I can find that in the references. There's cover versions. It's got to be mentioned in here somewhere. Maybe it's not. Wouldn't it be nice if we think of it I don't know. That's just for me what I always think of when I think of this song. Unless it's like another song, but I think it's like, wouldn't it be nice if we think about hope and pray it might come true? We could be happy. Is that another song? No, wouldn't it be nice? Another thing that came up was the Oso's relationship with the frog. Reminded me of the film The Princess and the Frog, which was 2009. Wow, it came out 2009, a Disney film. It was the 49th Disney animated feature film, loosely based on the novel The Frog Princess by E.D. Baker, which is based on the grim fairy tale The Frog Prince. It was written by John Musker and Ron Clements. Let's see. I like to always see. Okay, so it came out in 2009 for the holiday season, 97 minutes. It cost $105 million, brought in about $271 million. It takes place in New Orleans, stars Tiana, and I don't want to talk about the plot because since probably on Disney Plus too. But yeah, I always love stuff that's based on it. Let's see. Disney had once announced, this is early development, that Home on the Range would be their last traditionally animated film. Then in 2006, they acquired Pixar. And many animators had been laid off from traditional animation units, but they got rehired back onto the project. They also brought back Clements and Musker, who had worked on The Great Mouse Detective, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, and Treasure Planet. And they started everything. And yeah, it's definitely a beloved Disney film. Cara Dune made me think of Dune, the novel, which this was interesting. So I guess I thought I had talked about, maybe I've talked about Dune, the movie, but I don't think I ever looked up this Wikipedia article about Dune, a 1965 science fiction novel, originally published as 2 separate serials. I had no idea about that. It was a first installment of the Dune saga, which I think I've read a few of these books, but my brain is not, retained very much. Very popular books, a popular movie. I think was it coming out or was there already a miniseries? Let's look that up. It really a David Lynch movie was it who made the first film. Let's see, there's adaptations, there's early stalled attempts, then there was the 1984 film by David Lynch, 2000 miniseries by John Harrison that came out on the Sci-Fi Channel, and then there's a 2020 film coming out. So that'll be interesting. So it's about to come out at some point, not that far from now. I mean, who knows when you're hearing this. So that'll be something, I'll check out too. You think that's it. There's other stuff that'll be in the research if you want to look it up. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and good night. I want to thank everybody for the show on Patreon recently. Brooke, Amelia, and Phil, thank you, thanks, and good night. Maggie, Kathy, and Alexis, thank you, thanks, and good night. Tag Girl, AB, and Thomas, thanks, and good night. Lauren, Jamie, and Jeremiah, thank you, thanks, and good night. Tim, Stacy, and Co., thanks, and good night. Jennifer, Simmons, and Asher, thank you, thanks, and good night. Jessica, Pon, and Sarah, thank you, thanks, and good night. Evelyn, Priya, and Sammy, thank you, thanks, and good night. Stephanie, Jacob, and Ariel, thank you, thanks, and good night. Greg, Francis, and Scott, thank you, thanks, and good night. Donna, Heather, and Megan, thank you, thanks, and good night. Maria, Robert, and Rachel, thank you, thanks, and good night. Angela, Emma, and Charity, thanks, and good night. Becky, Colin, and Amanda, thanks, and good night. Lillian, Debbie, and TK, thank you, thanks, and good night. And Lindsay, Julian, and Emma, thanks, and good night. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Sleep With Me is able to exist as a free podcast because the listeners that take action to support the show on Patreon, support the sponsors, or buy the merch, come to our live shows. That handful of listeners brings the podcast to everybody for free, which deserves an extra round of thanks. So thank you. And the show grows because of those who spread the word about the show. So I really, really appreciate free way to support the show. Thank you so much, everybody that does that. And speaking of spreading the word, here's a podcast from Night Vale Presents I want to tell you about.